Hello, it is me, Strong Earth Creations, and for today's video, I'm going to be doing a tutorial for this granny square sunflower bucket hat. I love making these bucket hats. I've made so many of them now. I even made a little toddler version that I put on my creeper stuffed animal. So it's very easily customizable. I even talk about how to switch some sizing in the video. I know there's a lot of tutorials similar to this on YouTube, but this is just the perfect one that I found works for me. Fit-wise, I feel like it's the easiest to assemble and there's like the least amount of ends to sew in with the way that I do it. So I hope that you guys enjoy the video and follow along. If you do end up making it, I would love to see your creations. Make sure to tag me on Instagram at Strong Earth Creations. Let's get into the materials and the tutorial and let's go. So the materials that you'll need for this project is going to be your yarn. I'm using cotton yarn, a 5mm hook, a yarn needle, and scissors. So first, using your center color, so this color right here, we're going to be making a magic circle by twisting, insert the hook, pull up, chain 3. This counts as your first double crochet, and then we're going to be doing a total of 16 double crochets. So now that we've done our chain 3, let's do 15 more double crochets by yarning over, inserting your hook, yarn over, pull through, so that you have 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Do 14 more of these. Alright, so we have our 16 double crochets. This first chain 3 counts. Go ahead and tighten your circle. And slip stitch into that 3rd chain. And we're going to go ahead and cut off, leaving a tail, chaining 1 and tightening. So there is the first part of our square. Next, going in with our second color for our petals. So this is going to be this round right here. I like attaching my yarn a few away from our tail. Just go ahead and attach your yarn just like this by pulling through and chain 2. I'm going to be working over all of these tails while I do this row, so you can leave them out and sew them in later, but this is the best option for me for having to sew in the least amount of tails. So we're going to be doing the same sequence for every petal. So it starts with your chain 2 for the first one only. Yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, that's 2 times, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, that's 3 times, and then you're going to yarn over and pull through all of those loops, and then chain 1. Now for the next 15, you're going to be doing the same thing except 4 times. This chain 2 at the beginning counted as your first yarn over, pull through, so you're going to yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through 3, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, that's 4, and then yarn over, pull through all of your loops, and then chain 1. So go ahead and do this for every single stitch that you had, and you should be ending with 16 total petals. finishing up the last one by chaining 1, and then you're going to slip stitch into that first chain 1 space. So in between your first 2 petals, go ahead and do a slip stitch and cut off, leaving a tail, chain 1, pull through. You're finished with your first row of petals. Going in with your last petal color for this round right here, go ahead and attach your yarn the same way as last round. I'm gonna start here. You can start anywhere in the circle, it doesn't really matter where you start. And then leaving a tail, go ahead and chain 3 here. And this one is pretty similar to last round, but a slight difference. You're going to yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, and then you're going to yarn over and pull through those 2 loops. So this counts as 1, this also counts as 1, so right now we have 2. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through those 2, so that's 3, and then last time, yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through the last 2, so now this is 4. You should have 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through those 4 loops, and then chain 2. So you're going to do this for every petal minus the chain 3. You're just going to do that sequence 4 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, pull through all of those loops, chain 2. Go ahead and repeat that process until you have all 16 of your petals. And then once again, finishing off your last one by pulling through all of them, chaining 2, and slip stitching into that chain 2 space between your first 2 petals. Cut off, leaving a tail, chain 1 and pull through. And your flower is done, and now we're just gonna move on to the actual square part. So grab whatever color your square is going to be, and let's get started on that. Attaching your yarn the same way as you've been attaching it. Go into any space you want to, and chain 3. This counts as a double crochet. And then do 2 more double crochets. This is gonna be your corner. So when we get all the way around, we're gonna be working 3 more double crochets into this space. And then we're going to be doing 3 spaces of the 3 double crochets. So 3 double crochets here. 3 double crochets here, and 3 double crochets here. Then we're going to do our corner. So 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets. Three more spaces of 3 double crochet, and then your corner. Keep that going all the way around your square. There's their 3 spaces of the 3 double crochet. Now let's do our corner with 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet. Once again, 3 spaces with the 3 double crochet. And our corner space. And then the last time, 3 spaces of double crochets. And you should be back to where we first started at our first corner. So you're just going to do 3 double crochets into that first space that we already worked into. Chain 2 and slip stitch into that 3rd chain from our starting chain. And your square is finished. Go ahead and cut off, leaving a tail. Chain 1, pull through. So you're going to go ahead and make 5 of these squares. So I have mine already here. This should be the perfect size for an adult head. So it goes 4 around the head and then 1 for the top. But if you need to make them bigger or smaller, just go ahead and adjust that accordingly to your head size or whoever the person you're making this hat for. If you want it to be smaller, I would recommend doing 12 double crochets at the start instead of 16. And then for your square part, you'd only be doing 2 spaces of the 3 double crochet instead of 3 spaces. So you can adjust that accordingly. If you need it to be bigger, maybe try just doing 1 more row of the square or just adding rows of single crochet to the sides to increase the width. But this should be a good adult-sized head. So once you've finished all 5 of your squares, we're going to start assembling. So we're just going to be slip stitching using our square color. So go ahead and grab 2 squares, and these are the right sides of the squares. These are the wrong sides of the squares. So we're going to connect right side to right side like this and slip stitch right across here so that we're working on the wrong sides of our work. So how I like to do this is I just create a slip knot and working into our first corner, just go ahead and slip stitch. And I like to slip stitch in the back loops only, and this I feel creates a neater look. So if you look at your stitches, you should have a little V. You're going to be working into the back loop of that V, and on this side, the back loop of that V. And then just slip stitch. So back loop, slip stitch. And you don't have to do this. This is just what I find looks the neatest. You can just work through the regular stitch as normal, but this is what I like to do. So just go ahead and slip stitch all the way down, working in every stitch, and then 1 slip stitch in the corner as well. And then just go ahead, cut off a tail, and finish off. So this is what it'll look like, and this is why I think it looks neater using the back loops only, is that it just creates this nice line that you can't see. It makes it nice and flat. So now we're going to go to our next square, and then I like to make sure that all of my ends are on the same side, so that way they're all just going to be sewn in on the same side. So connecting right side to right side, and then slip stitching down this way. and you're going to do this for all 4 squares, and then leave the 5th square because that is the top of our hat, so we'll do that one last. Once in the corner, and then once in every stitch. I'll be doing back loops only, all the way down. And then last one for our round part of the hat, right side to right side, slip stitching across here. Once all 4 squares are connected, now we're just going to connect it to make a circle. Once again, right side to right side, slip stitch along here. All right, so now all 4 squares are connected. This is the circular part of your hat, and now this last square is going to be the top of your hat, so make sure that it is wrong sides facing, because that is the way that our work is currently. This is our wrong side of our work. And we're just going to be connecting this with one side to one side. And then it should just kind of fit because there's 4 squares and there's 4 sides to this square. So one side per square, and we're just going to be connecting it using our slip stitch on the back loops only, or regularly if that's your preference. Same as we connected our other squares. So I'll show you getting started. Starting in the corner on both sides. And then just slip stitching across as normal, and it should be ending perfectly corner to corner. So now we're corner to corner. Go ahead and slip stitch that corner, and then we're moving on to the next side. We still have a corner here, so you just slip stitch from this corner into the same corner that you just slip stitch into, and you're going to do that for each corner. And then regularly slip stitching across. Doing this for all 4 sides. And you should be ending in your corner by slip stitching, cutting a tail, and finishing off. So this is what your hat should look like from the wrong side. I would go ahead and sew in all of these ends now. You can leave these bottom ones if you like to work your ends in with your stitches, because we're going to be doing our brim here, and I can just work over these ends when I'm doing my brim. But go ahead and sew in all of these ends up top, and then you can flip your work. So sew in your ends and then meet me back for the brim. All right, so let's move on to the brim. I'm gonna go ahead and start with just a row of single crochet. This is just how I like to start my brims. I feel like it gives me a solid base for the double crochets of our brim, and it gives me the chance to sew in all of these ends while I'm working out on the brim. So you can go ahead and attach anywhere you want. I like to just attach in a random corner, and we're just gonna do 1 regular row of single crochet. So I'm just gonna go ahead and slip stitch, chain 1, and then single crochet And I'm just going to single crochet across the entire perimeter of our brim, working 1 single crochet in every stitch and 1 single crochet in every corner. Sewing in the ends while I work. And once you finish that row of single crochet, just slip stitch into your first stitch, and then we're going to do 2 rows of double crochet with some increases to create a wavy brim. So start with a chain 2. This doesn't count as a stitch, and we're just going to do an increase in every single stitch, but only working in our front loops, and this is going to make our brim go more upwards instead of facing completely down. So working into that first stitch in that front loop only, we're going to do 2 double crochets. And then just doing this in every stitch, working in the front loop only, 2 double crochets, all the way around for the first row of our brim. Go ahead and meet me back once you've finished this row. Once you've finished your first row, it should look something like this. It should start, you know, waving up. Go ahead and slip stitch into your first double crochet, chain 2, and we're going to do 1 more row of the brim, this time doing an increase, so 2 double crochets, and then 1 double crochet in the next, 2 double crochet, 1 double crochet in the next, and this one is not using front loop only, this one is just regular double crochet. So go ahead and do this pattern of increase, 1 double crochet, increase, 1 double crochet, all the way around, and that is your final row of your brim, and then you can go ahead and slip stitch into your first double crochet and finish off, and your bucket hat is done. Sew in any ends you have, and I will see you once you're finished. And you're done, you finished. I'm so proud of you. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial and you found it helpful and you made your own lovely sunflower granny square bucket hat. Follow me on Instagram at Strong Earth Creations. Check out my other videos, uploads every Tuesday, and I will see you next week. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!